As we said before, the general environment includes those factors that might not have a direct impact on the daily operations of a firm, but will indirectly influence it somehow. So within the general environment, we can actually we can talk about political, socio-cultural, economic conditions, global and technological environments, and these factors eventually affect all businesses, but as we said before, indirectly, right? The elements in the general environment influence the organization through the medium of the task environment. The task environment, on the other hand, includes factors that the organization interacts with directly and that have a direct impact on the organization's ability to achieve its goals. The task environment typically includes competitors, suppliers, and buyers, which are customers and distributors, businesses that produce substitute products for those sold in the industry, and businesses that provide complementary products and services. Yes, if businesses, companies want to be successful in what they do and within the competitive environment, they need to analyze what's going on actually surrounding them, what's going on around them. And there is an analysis, and it's called PAST. It covers political and legal, economic, social, cultural, and technological factors. That's why it's called PAST. Some of the researchers actually suggest that we need to include two more items into PAST analysis that then makes it PASTEL. These are the actually ecological and legal issues taken care of separately within these analysis. Within the general environment, we can actually we need to take care of, for example, political and legal factors. As we said before, any company doesn't have any power to influence the political or legal issues by itself, and it's affected by those factors. This represents the law and regulations, not only the home countries, but also others in today's global marketplace. We have economic factors, condition and the direction of the economy are critical. Among the most important economic elements are interest rates, inflation, changes in the disposable income, stock market fluctuations, and business cycle stages. These are very critical. The third one is the socio-cultural factors. They are concerned with societal and cultural factors such as values, attitudes, trends, traditions, lifestyles, beliefs, tastes, and patterns of behavior. So technological factors within the business environmental context, the technological forces affect machinery, materials, functions, methods, and management practices. One last item we need to talk about the general environment elements is global factors. These factors are outcomes of changes in international relationships, changes in nations' economic, political, and legal systems, and changes in the technology. After talking about the general environment, now we can focus on the task environment. As we said before, the task environment actually influences the business organization very much, and it's a direct influence. So the elements of the task environment are customers, for example. It's important to know different characteristics of customer groups for planning and applying marketing functions effectively and efficiently. The second element is suppliers within the task environment. and it's very critical to manage the relationship with suppliers to maintain the desired level of production, complying with the predetermined standards. Let's say you have an order, right? If you don't have suppliers, for example, you cannot fulfill the needs of your customers, right? That's why it's very critical to maintain those relationships. The third item, the third element within the task environment is competitors. Each industry is characterized by specific competitive issues. Competitors pursue various strategies to capture more market share by making more sales. And we have substitute products, you heard them, actually you use them, let's say you have an eye problem, sight to eye sight problem, right? So you can choose, you can actually fix that problem by either using glasses or contact lenses, or you can have some eye surgery. These are the actually substitute products or services, right? You can actually choose one of them over others. As company executives monitor their rival strategies, they should also pay attention to the effects of substitute products and the threats they cause, right? If, for example, the industry of one of your substitute products grow, you need to be very, very careful about these developments. The last item within the task environment is the producers of complementary products. For example, if you consume tea, most of the people add some sugar into it, right? So if the demand for tea increases, also demand for sugar should increase, right? Since they are complementary, they complement each other. If a company produces a complementary product, its control over products can be limited. After actually discussing the external environmental items, which are general environment and task environment, now we can focus on the internal environment. So these are the environmental factors that directly affects and shape the managerial decisions and operations in organizations as well as business entities. So we can actually add leadership and management into this category: organizational culture, human resources, organizational structures, business assets, financial strengths, and operational and managerial processes. Leadership and management, if it's very strong leadership and effective management, it's gonna be very helpful in accomplishing long-term goals. The companies that have very strong leadership and management actually are so lucky in terms of capturing their market share or in reaching their long-term goals. Other than this, we have organizational culture. We will talk about it a little bit more in the following slides. But this is one of the top hot topics that managers deal with to direct organization towards desired goals. Human resources, one of the very important elements of internal environment. The actual challenge for businesses in terms of success is to find, recruit, and retain human resources who have the required qualifications, for example, expertise, skills, and capability. The fourth item that we need to talk is organizational structure. It typically reflects managerial layers, lines of authority, rights and responsibilities in a firm. Business assets, businesses that have enough assets such as buildings, vehicles, raw materials, machinery, cash, inventory, and equipment, they are so advantageous and they can actually seek opportunities faster and better compared to their rivals. Operational and managerial processes, designing and managing the organizational and managerial processes in a way to increase effectiveness and efficiency is very critical. That's why the managers actually should focus on operational and managerial processes, and they need to change if they are old-fashioned or ineffective. So, after talking about the environmental issues, we can talk about the dimensions of organizational culture. So, this term is described as the shared values, principles, traditions, and ways of doing things that influence the way organizational members act, right? There are certain things we can easily observe within the organization regarding the organizational culture, right? We can give some example for visible elements within the organizational culture of a business. For example, artifacts such as dress, office layouts, symbols, slogans, and ceremonials are the concrete items actually we can easily observe and have an idea what kind of organizational culture of any given organization. But on the other hand, there are some invisible items that we cannot easily see or observe. You know, you need to take a closer look or analyze the company to see the invisible items within the organizational culture. So values, we have values as one of the invisible elements, which are principles, standards, and the goals that the actually employees hold. Underlying assumptions are the ones actually which are very, very difficult to observe, and assumptions are accepted as they are without questioning. They reflect the beliefs concerning human nature and reality. That's why it's very difficult to actually break or change the assumptions of the employees or management teams. There are very different types of dimensions of any given organizational cultures. Some of the cultures actually outcome oriented. So we can call them outcome orientation cultures. Managers here focus on results or outcomes rather than on how these outcomes are achieved. The second type of organizational culture actually attention detail. Employees are expected to exhibit precision, analysis, and attention to detail within these cultures. Some cultures actually are people oriented, and management decisions take into account the effects on people in the organization. Team orientation, here within these type of organizational cultures, the work is organized around teams rather than individuals. Some cultures can be aggressive more than others. Here, employees are aggressive and competitive rather than cooperative. Stability, organizational decisions and actions emphasize maintaining the status quo here. And the last one, for example, innovation and risk-taking. Employees are encouraged to be innovative and risk-taking. These were the dimensions of organizational culture. There is another issue we need to talk about here, which is one of the hot topics in organizations: ethics, especially in management. Ethics is the study of moral obligation or separating right from wrong. Why is it important? Because maybe you may have heard of some corporate scandals about wrongdoings of the employees or management teams. Right, you can actually read the details of these kind of corporate scandals in your book. So it's a hot topic and very important in terms of customers, suppliers, and employees prefer to deal with ethical companies. One of the studies actually discovered that the employees choose to work with with the companies actually with strong ethical values. And the managerial ethics refers to the responsibility of managers as suppliers of ethical values to all stakeholders, including employees, customers, shareholders, and the society. So it's very critical for a business to create and maintain, create a common understanding of ethics through ethical standards. So managers can accomplish certain managerial tasks more efficiently, such as guide people to certain type of behaviors and attitudes during processing tasks, handle ethical dilemmas based on accepted ethical terms, and maintain a consistent ethical image in the eyes of all stakeholders. So one of the actually concept here that we can use within the organization, it's a kind of tool and which is called code of ethics, right? So it's creating it's very helpful in creating, distributing, and continually improving a company's ethical ethical platforms. Creating, distributing, and continually improving a company's code of ethics and is an important step to create an ethical workplace. A code of ethics declares the values, ethics, objectives, and the responsibilities of the companies. And the code of ethics is expected to find solutions regarding conflict of interest, competitors, and privacy of information, gift giving, and giving and receiving political contributions. The last actually topic within our presentation is the corporate social responsibility, which is also one of the very hot topics in today's environment. The term corporate social responsibility refers to the obligations that businesses have to stakeholders beyond their economic obligations and those set by law or contract. There are four types, it's written three mistakenly, but there are four types of social responsibility in businesses. One of it's a kind of hierarchy, right? From the mandatory to voluntary. The first one is economic responsibilities, producing goods and services of value to society so that a firm may repay its creditors and shareholders. This is a typical responsibility of businesses. The second one in the hierarchy is the legal responsibilities, the laws and regulations that are enacted by governments to which businesses are expected to conform. Now we are actually moving from the mandatory responsibilities to voluntary responsibilities. The third one is ethical responsibilities. They are general beliefs about right, accepted and wrong, unaccepted behaviors in a society. And the last one, actually, philanthropic responsibilities. These are voluntary obligations a business firm assumes. Among them are contributions, training the unemployed, and providing daycare centers. So, in this video, we talked about the new management context, the types of business environments, organization, culture and its dimensions, ethics in management, and corporate social responsibility. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you can find the details of these topics, these issues in your book.